Are we doing all the things necessary to get to the life that we want? A lot of the stuff that you hear in that video is the stuff that we talk about, eliminating the distractions, how life comes to distract us. Everything around us is distracting us, from your phone, from social media, from people that are around you, from what we're distracted with on television. Life is coming to distract us. So are you able and are you willing to disappear for a little bit, to cut the noise, to cut the distractions, to push all of that aside? I heard just last night, it was either last night or this morning, I can't remember. Yeah, whether it's last night or this morning. I watched Wallow on it was last night. Wallow's on Instagram. He where he puts out motivational messages, but he basically was like, "Hey, do you need to sit out this summer? Do you need to sit out this summer?" Right? It's summertime. It's the beginning of June. People are graduating. We're starting to see the sun come out. Are you ready to get out and be out and do all the things and the brunches and the vacations and the spending the money and partying and right, no work and all that stuff? Are we doing that, or do we need to sit out this summer? Is this the summer that we need to say, you know what? I'm not going to do any of that stuff. I'm actually just going to put myself in the room. I'm actually just going to put myself in the closet. I'm actually just going to, like Tiffany said, isolate and prepare. Just isolate. Just maybe this is the summer. Maybe these are the 3-4 months that you're like, you know what? I'm just going to chill out this year. I'll come back around next summer. I'll come back around in 2 summers, right? Maybe this is that time for you. The real question is, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to isolate? Are you willing to take 2 steps back to take 10 steps forward? Most people aren't. Most people don't. They look at taking steps back as a failure, as a loss. We just got to keep moving forward. What if this is that season for you where you just need to say, you know what? I need to disappear. I need to eliminate some distractions. I need to prioritize some things. I need to get my priorities in order. I need to make sure that I'm spending time in the places that are the most important, that are returning me the best ROI, right? The best return on my investment. That's where I'm putting my time and energy. And all of these other things are distractions. All these other people are distractions. Maybe we need to take a little bit of time to recalibrate. What are you sacrificing? What are you willing to sacrifice this summer? Remember, these messages, they're not for everybody. These are for people that want to get to their goals and dreams. You want to have a better life. You want to do the things that people around you aren't able to do. So you have to do different things, right? You have to start sacrificing some things. Maybe this is the summer to sacrifice. Maybe this is the summer to build up those disciplines that you have. I was just telling somebody this because they were complaining about being busy, right? A lot of times we get really busy. And so they were just, kind of going down that path of, I never have time for this and we don't have time for that. And I always say, as an entrepreneur, I was like, listen, I like being busy. I remember what it was like to not be busy, and that wasn't fun. So I prefer to be busy, right? So it's all perspective. It's all how you look at it, right? So I like being busy. But here's the thing. The things that keep me busy are the things that I choose to prioritize in my life. I'm not just busy doing things. I'm busy faith, family, business, right? Those things keep me busy. Those are the priorities. That's where I spend 98% of my time and attention is around my faith, my family, and our business. That's it. So I can be busy, but it's in limited areas. Do we know how to do that? Do we know how to take that step back and just say, hey, what really is important to me? What really are the things that I'm spending my time doing? And are they bringing me a return? Why would you eliminate distractions? Why would you sacrifice? Why would you put discipline and determination? Like, why are you doing all these things? It's because there's a future reward for you. That's why we do this. It's for the future reward. What's up ahead? Sometimes when we're helping people down the money path and we're having these money conversations, people will say things like, I have a spending problem, or right, every time, matter of fact, just had this yesterday, sit down with a couple and she's like, I can't leave money in my checking account because if I go out the house and there's money in there, I know I'm going to spend it. So I have to put it in places that I can't touch it. Some of y'all, that might be you, right? You're like, I got to protect myself from myself when it comes to my finances, right? And that was her mode of operation. And what I would say is a lot of times that may be the case, that we often, you know what, when it comes to money, if there's money there, we naturally are going to spend it. We're going to do what makes us feel good or what we need at that moment. And the way we cure that, the way we fix that is by having a bigger vision for what we want to use money for. Having a bigger vision. If you know that all it takes is $1.7 million and you're financially free for the rest of your life, and that's all you ever wanted was to be financially free, well, then in the short term, you might contemplate not buying that car right now or going on that vacation right now, because you know that money is better spent in the future to get you to the thing you want most. We could take this scripturally. Scripturally, it says, where there's no vision, people perish, right? In another translation, it says, where there's no vision, people cast off restraint. Where there's no vision, people cast off restraint. So if we don't have a future vision in the short term, it's easy for us to cast off restraint, to not restrain ourselves when it comes to a lot of these areas. If you don't have a future vision of your health, of your body, of, you know, what your vitality is when you're 75, if you don't have a future vision of that, you would eat all the burgers and pizza and, right, things that you are eating right now because you don't have a future vision of it. But if you have a future vision of being nimble and running and jumping and right, just being full of life when you're 75, when you're 80 years old, if that's the vision that you have, you'll have restraint in the short term over what you consume. So this is the way it works with everything. Same thing with what you want to get to in your life. But just know, champions are future oriented. You're focused more on the future than you are on the past. So here's what it says in the text, 177 mental toughness secrets. It says, while amateurs often live in the past, champions look towards the future. Pros habitually focus on the present while creating their ultimate vision for and landscape of the future. This future orientation allows them to dream of grand visions and unlimited possibilities. It also keeps them motivated and moving forward by keeping the proverbial carrot out in front. Amateurs like to talk about the good old days and how they wish things were like they were before. Professional performers are just the opposite. The pros revere and respect the past, but place responsibility for the future squarely on their own shoulders. Taking responsibility, taking personal responsibility for failures, successes, and actions in general is the trait of a world-class performer. The saying, if it is to be, it's up to me, reflects their belief. Average people would rather see themselves as victims of circumstance beyond their control. The great ones make their own circumstances and respond with a higher level of awareness to negative events in their lives. Their execution-based focus and future orientation keeps them on track. It all begins with taking full responsibility for their lives and their futures. Brian Tracy here has a quote that says, all great leaders have vision and idealization in which they can continually imagine the perfect outcome in all situations. How much are you future oriented? How much are you clear on your vision? How much are you clear on what you're headed towards, what you want to make happen? The idea of the highest, grandest vision of your life. If you could draw your life up exactly how you want it, exactly how God has placed it in your mind, whatever that vision is that you see that you might not think is real, you might suppress it a little bit. Whatever you're thinking up there, can we get clear on that? Can we get clear? Because if we are clear and we can be future oriented, knowing that we're just what's up ahead, we can start doing some of the right things right now. We can start putting the right habits in place. We can start thinking on the right things. We can start becoming aware of the things that we need to level up, to take our lives to that place, to take our health to that place, to take your finances to that place in the future. But you got to have that future vision first. You got to understand what you want to make happen. So then we can go about doing the right things. If you don't know what's up ahead, if you're not thinking about the future, you'll just relive the past. if you don't have a vision for exactly what you want to make happen up ahead, you'll just revert to what you've known and what you've done and the habits that you have, done, and the experiences you have experienced and the feelings that you have. You'll just experience the same stuff over and over again. That's why we do these calls. Because remember, you change your thinking, you change your life. If you want something to change, it starts with, what are we thinking about? How are we thinking about this? Because that then affects our emotions and our feelings. And because we have the same thoughts, oftentimes we have the same emotions, we experience some of the same things over and over again, we get the same outcomes. So in order to change that, let's get clearer on the future vision. Some of the stuff you also, again, heard inside of that video, you just got to make sure that you are willing to disappear. If what is up ahead is important to you, then you have to take time right now to say, you know what? I need to eliminate some of these distractions so that I can get to that life that I want. So I can get to that financial status that I want to, or I want wherever you want your business or your relationships. You have to be willing to disappear, to cut the noise, to unlearn and relearn, right? We've been talking about that. That's something that we talk about a bunch on here. Are you willing to unlearn the things that don't serve you anymore, the negative programming, the misinformed programming? Are you willing to unlearn those things and relearn the things that will get you to your destiny, to the man or woman God called you to be? Are you willing to go through that process? If we're still thinking the same way we thought 12 years ago, we haven't improved. We haven't grown. You should have thoughts now that oppose your thoughts 15 years ago. You should have something that supports, like, you know what? The way I thought back then wasn't necessarily on the right track. I've learned some things now. I have some wisdom. I have some experience, and I don't think the same way that I did. Scripturally, right? When I was a boy, I spoke. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I reasoned as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things, right? Eventually, what has to happen is you have to change how you think about things so that you can operate differently. And it might take you sitting a summer out in order to realize that. It might take you cutting off some friends or some associates or some people that you're around in order to realize that. It might take you reading some books, getting into some different circles in order for you to realize that. But once you do, and once you are aware of the areas that you have to add some disciplines, change some habits, remove some distractions, get better. Once you realize what those areas are, you can now go to work making that future vision a reality. It's just about execution, ladies and gentlemen. You just got to do it. All the stuff that we talk about on these morning calls, right? It's to get you to understand that this thing we call success, right? It's a thin line. It's small things. It's never the big stuff. It's never taking leaps and bounds. It's the daily habits, the daily activities, the daily mindsets, the way you think about something over and over and over again that will create the success that you're looking for. And again, when we say success, it's success in any area. Success in your relationship, success in your finances, success in your health, success in your faith life, like success in general, being, right? Whatever you deem as success, whatever fulfills you. But you got to be willing to sacrifice. You got to be willing to eliminate distractions. You got to be willing to go isolate yourself to level up. You got to have this future orientation. You got to know that whatever you're doing now, it's for what's happening in the future. The action step for today, ladies and gentlemen, says program yourself by repeating this statement until you believe it. The past is only as important as it relates to the present and the future, and any mistakes in my past have been for the purpose of helping me create a bountiful future. The past is only important as it relates to the present and the future, and any mistakes in my past have been for the purpose of helping me create a bountiful future. This affirmation harnesses the power of the past and directs it to the only place that it can serve you, which is in the future. We got to look to up ahead. Don't look what's behind. just as it relates to what's going on right now or what's up ahead, so you don't make the same mistakes. That's the only reason you need the past, so you can learn from those things and be like, okay, I saw that before. Let me not do that again. That's what the past is for. But we're not going to relive the past. We're not going to relive there. We're going to live in the future. We're going to say, you know what? This is what I'm headed towards. This is the man or woman that God called me to be. This is what's going on up here. This is what I see of my life. Whatever I see up here, I want to hold it with my hand. So I now have to start doing some things differently in order to get to that life. I got to start sacrificing. I got to start taking some summers off. Good old Kanye West line. Lock myself in a room doing 5 beats a day for 3 summers. That's a different world, like Cree Summers. I deserve to do these numbers. Anyway, we're going to go back. Kanye said it, right? It was Kanye. He said it. But again, can you lock yourself in a basement? Can you lock yourself in a room for multiple summers to sacrifice to get to your ultimate goal? That's really the question. That's how we get to success. I love you guys. I want you to win. I share this stuff with you so that you can go out and make your lives incredible. This is a never-ending journey. You never arrive. You just learn how to run the marathon. You get stronger over time. You handle more over time. We get better over time. Your capacity builds over time. That's what happens. That's what I want for all of you, because it's too crowded down here at the bottom. It's time to get to the top of this thing.